welcome to a very special episode of It's a Mimic Podcast. With me today are James and Dave.
Hello.
And Megan,
Hi.
of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought you were Brad.
You know what? I have a very feminine, delicate voice. I think that absolutely you can
Would
easily
have got
mistake
that wrong.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, today is one of those days where we get to roll some dice, answer some questions from our fan base from around whatever platform they should so choose. I think that each of our different sheets is a different platform.
I have Instagram, email, and more Reddit.
Mine is the usual suspects.
Mine is Reddit and YouTube.
Okay.
All right.
So I think we've got a good plethora of questions to answer today. This is one, so you goes first.
All right,
Black
16.
Okay.
I
got 13, so Dave goes first.
I have the red one, so I'm going to roll a red one.
All right.
All right. Number 9. At Spidey Rich asks, what race not in 5e would you want to play? Doesn't have to be in a previous edition.
So just like fantasy race, I would assume? Because this is not in 5e.
Yeah, I mean, there were other races in previous editions that
Don't exist now in 50.
yeah, and there's some now that didn't exist before.
It's a hard one, especially with expanded races out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that cover a lot of bases.
I'm gonna Google what races are not in 50.
All right.
Yeah.
I know that they've spoken by they, I mean Adam and probably Dan, have spoken a lot about Kender, and they seem like a real pain in the ass.
Adam or Dan or the Kender?
I wasn't specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so D&D races that are still not playable in 5th edition. Lupin.
Yeah, but we got the Heron gone.
Yeah, Spirit Folk.
Okay.
Okay, that'd be cool.
But I mean, Kalishtar, no, I guess
Yeah,
they're more Dream than Spirit.
Yeah, they're Dream than Spirit. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
The Elan from 3.5 or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Shard Mind.
Sounds cool, whatever it is.
Sounds dope.
Seems like Kalishtar just on the name, though. Shardmind.
Kender.
Yeah.
Dragonlance setting of D&D's 1st edition. Similar to Halflings. Cute. The Asherati, that's 3.5, right?
I've never heard of them before. Could be.
Got a cool name, though.
And then the Bwoman,
Woman.
Woman.
which are from 3.5, native to the astral plane.
Again-
They're referred to as the Moaning Monks.
Oh.
Huh.
Interesting. I'm going to go with Kender.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That
because
sounds
it's
cute.
the only one that I'm really familiar with.
Yeah. I would love to go with a Moaning Monk. I'm just...
Fair. I would probably do the Shardmind just because that sounds cool.
Sounds like something you would do.
Sounds a little edgy.
Yeah, a little
yeah.
edgy, a little like cerebral.
Yeah.
Yeah, really work in there, get the mind.
Yeah. Screw with people with their heads as opposed to physical violence because that's always fun.
Okay, but hold
It's
on.
kind of your MO.
It is.
Yeah.
The Moaning Monks speak entirely in song.
Ooh.
That could be fun.
So a moaning monk bard.
Yeah.
No, don't do a bard. Do something that's entirely away from music and you're off key the whole time.
Yeah.
A barbarian. I love to smash
Yeah.
things. My favorite things to smash are faces.
And apparently there are penalties if they break their vow of using song as their traditional speech. Interesting.
That could be really fun.
That would be could you imagine sitting at a table with Adam DMing and Dan playing one of those? And just the back and forth between the two of them trying to catch
He
the
would
other
get
one?
he would get rewards for not singing.
That's probably true.
That's how that
Yeah.
would flip, 100%.
That's true. Doesn't Dan owe you some song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He owes most of us a song.
Yeah, I'm the only one that got a song.
Yeah. Well, that's because your name screamed, "Give me a song," which was Zenthos,
Yeah.
the fresh maker.
Yeah.
It was an easy sell, my guy.
True.
All right, who's next?
That was me. So I'll roll black. 19. So from user accidental dialogue says, y'all are DMs. What are your character creation go-to rules? What homebrews for character creation have you tried and went well? Which ones have flopped? Kind of along the same lines, if ability score generation is some people do a free feat, free magic item, etc.
Well, you're first, James.
For me, for go-to character creation for NPCs is having a motivation. Before anything else.
Above your backstory.
Yeah,
X, Y,
above
Z.
their backstory. What's their motivation for being in that situation? What are they trying to get out of the party, essentially?
Sure, I think this is more PC based though. If you were gonna set your guys to roll PCs,
Oh, yeah.
how would you set it up?
I do the 4d6 drop one.
Yeah.
I usually tell them to do 7 and drop the lowest as well if it's a new party of players. So they're all playing the power fantasy they want to play.
Sure. How do you deal with magic items and stuff like that?
It depends on the game. So
I would say it depends on the level, too.
Yeah, it depends on the level, depends on the game, depends on the players. Like, I've been a part of games where players who are they don't really read their stuff, they're fairly new to it. We've given them extremely overpowered magic items, but not told them how they operate. So we've given you the basics, so you know how to be able to defend with it if it's a defense shield or something like that. But if it's got extra abilities, we've written it out for you. It's visible for you to read. You need to remember it. So it helps them engage in the game a bit more, because they'll remember after the fact, oh, I could have done this to stop the bad guy 2 rounds earlier.
Yeah.
And then they'll remember that, and they'll follow that more often throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What about you?
I mean, for building the character, I usually just do the roll your dice and drop the lowest, and then I'll say re-roll your ones, because that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Ones and twos usually. But when it comes to magical items, there's something that we adopted from Adam, and that was based on the character level. They'll give you a certain amount of magical items based on your character's backstory, and then you get to choose 2 or 3 of them that you are required to attune to, whether they're attunable or not, because they're like custom to your character.
Yeah, you tell him what your character is, and he'll build stuff for you, and you get to pick what you want.
Yeah, it kind of inspires your players to actually build a backstory that's worth giving a magical item to.
Yeah.
Right?
I also found it was neat doing it that way because I was able to... Were you around when I was playing my Triton?
Yeah.
I had an item called, it was just brass knuckles, but it gave me advantage on unarmed strikes, which was super powerful, right? So I was a barbarian, but I was just running around punching stuff the whole time, and it was like one of the most effective characters I've had.
Yeah.
But no, I think like traditionally when I'm doing character creation, it's the 4d6, drop the lowest, reroll 1s and 2s, obviously. Sometimes it's roll 7, drop the lowest, not always. The one we're currently doing, our Sundays, Megan, remember we did that auction point buy thing in the backyard at Dan's here?
I wasn't there for that.
No, we drafted it. We all rolled all the numbers together. Yeah. And then we rolled initiative, and we all got to pick which number we wanted first. So we kind of got to like go through it.
Okay.
So we all rolled the 4d6 and then made a big pool of of numbers and did it that way.
Oh, I'm trying to play the team game.
Yeah, it didn't work out
it
so
would
well
not
for
work.
Casey.
No. Yeah,
no. She got. I think she got the 8.
Oh.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah, but I mean, we also, I think you were part of it when we did the one shot where we just rolled d20s.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like straight up, just roll a d20. Whatever the number is, that's what you get.
Yep.
And I love that.
That one was fun.
That's good for one shots because you can get stupid overpowered parties.
Or be really ridiculously low powered, which is fine with me too.
For a one shot, whatever.
Who gives a shit? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you get, barbarians with a strength of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wonderful. Thanks for that, Justin. You know what you did.
Yeah, you bitch. All right, I'm going to roll now.
All right, do it.
I'm going to roll white table. 19. Oh, I have a 2-pager.
Ooh, you got like a whole 2-pager.
I've got a fucking paragraph to read here. All right, KingofRott asks, how do you keep yourself on track for a D&D campaign as a DM? I get tunnel vision on random side quests that don't really lead the main story of the campaign anywhere, and yet I keep getting distracted, and I keep throwing them at my players. Do you write a general skeleton of main events in a campaign for the players to eventually react to? Just to be clear, our group still has a lot of fun, and I try not to railroad them too hard, but I also like to end our 4-year-long campaign at some point because I've got other campaign ideas brewing. Also, I love your podcast. Thanks. Oh, that's nice.
Oh.
Thanks, KingofRott.
Shucks.
Oh, shucks. I think that the issue with D&D campaigns, especially if they're homebrew campaigns, is that you can get very easily sidetracked by new, fresh ideas. XYZ, your players will never do what you think they're going to do, and then you're going to have to make up a whole bunch of new things. I literally walked into one of my friend's campaigns, and I made him build a council, because apparently where I was going had a council, and I was like, I would like to be on that council. And he's like, shit, now I have to make 12 houses with a goddamn council. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's very easy to get sidetracked with those things, and I think that there is some leeway in being able to allow your players to do that. But I do agree with the bare bones skeleton of this is the end goal that we're eventually going to reach, and then whatever you guys do in between to get there is fine. And then I find that a good warning at the end of every session to be like, okay, if you go in this direction, we're looking at another month and a half added to the campaign, or if we want to go in this direction, we're looking at another 2 to 3 weeks of the campaign kind of thing. And let your players kind of decide what direction they want to go based on the timeline Or you can say, I really wanted it to go in this direction. We're not going in that direction. We're going in a whole nother direction. We might end up playing a different campaign and end this campaign and then continue the main storyline in a later campaign. There's always that option.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of using modules. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. That's pretty much what I do at this point. I have written campaigns in the past, but it just kind of fizzles out. They go a different direction. So after that happened the first time and like my precious story didn't get done, which I think was years and years ago, right? But now it's more of a point form thing. It's what goals do we want to accomplish? This, and this. I'll add that in there along the way, maybe. When we play modules, I try to add stuff as well to try to get a little more flavor, but that's about it. I try not to... I kind of let the module do the railroading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I pick an endpoint and a midpoint, and everything's connected. It's all the butterfly effect for me. So if you thought your party was going to go save the town, but instead they decide to go into the sewers, how can't that solve that same problem you were trying to get them to do?
Yeah, like that milestone. Yeah. Just move it to the sewer.
Just move it to the sewer. Reskin what you were going to do anyway and put it on. I know, I find it personally can be hard, especially because it's your story. You're attached to it. Release that attachment.
Yeah.
One of the DMs I played with, she was a brand new DM, was playing excellently, but you could tell she was getting really frustrated with us actively going away from her storyline. Mm-hmm. We were all experienced DMs. We were all out to bug her. And we would actively turn against it. And eventually she got to the point where, okay, I'll just reskin it. And she ended up having way more fun as a DM. And we had more fun concurrently as players because she was able to just say, okay, here's the change without losing stride.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have expectations.
Yeah, when you have expectations where the story's going, where you think your party's going to go, it hurts for sure. And they're people. They're going to make decisions you don't expect, or they're going to make decisions knowing what you want them to make.
Yeah.
You'll see a shiny doorway to the left. I'm going right because you showed me the shiny doorway.
Yeah.
I either don't trust you that this door is going to hurt me, or something else may be around here. We know the shiny door is there. We can come back.
Yeah. And I know this doesn't pertain necessarily directly to the question, but I do feel that if you are feeling as a DM that you are getting completely derailed from your storyline and you have no idea how to get back, there's nothing wrong with telling your group, I need to take some time. Let's skip a sesh. Let me figure my shit out and let's get it together. And if it's happening at the table, there's nothing wrong with saying, guys, like, I need to take some time to figure this out. Like, how about we just have a night of just hanging out and then we'll play something else for a little bit and then we'll come back to it because I've got to remap something. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking a pause.
There's nothing wrong talking to your party about that too.
Yeah.
If they're always getting distracted, whether intentional or not, be like, hey guys, can we either stay on track or turn this game into one of those perpetual, we meet once a month for this game.
Yeah.
So you play it forever, but once a month you show up to play, you play casually, have fun, but start something else.
Yeah. If it turns into beer and pretzels, it turns into beer and pretzels.
Yeah, that's why on my Thursdays we do Candle Keep.
Yeah.
To just kind of, mix
Bunch
it
of
up every
little
so
modules.
often. Yeah. Right, it's perfect because they're 2 sessions at most each, right?
Yeah.
So
No, we have an L5R group that plays multiple games at one time because one is like super serious sadness simulator, let's cry at the table for 4 hours. And then another one is just like beer and pretzels, we're pirates. Arrah! And so just to get the 2 different moods going, right?
Yep.
But,
all right, I am going to roll on the white table. 2.
God, you're making me read novels here.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one's okay. So Groundbreaking Top 33 asks, now that Pepperina is a cast member, can we skip her questions from now on and let her just ask them in random episodes that she is a part of? Oh, Peps.
Yes, actually, if you look, do you see any
I actually don't
Pepperina
see any
on
Peps
yours?
questions on here.
I don't either. I've got the usual suspects, so I would imagine she
You would be
on
there
yours,
if anywhere.
yeah.
And no, nothing
Yep,
here.
I do not have it as well.
So yes, we can.
Yes, we can. I feel like from the understanding, I think is we're going to try and get an all-girls mailbag happening one time.
There you go, Dave.
Yes.
So
that's
this is
more
your
of a
time to
Brad thing.
shine with me and Peps, Steve.
All right, let's do it. I'm into it. All right, James, you're up.
I will roll red.
All right.
14.
Finisher 7119 asks, what's the worst spell in D&D 5e? And what is the worst spell in all of D&D?
Worst spell in 5e.
Polymorph.
No, there was something I was bitching about the other day. 1 second.
Oh.
No, well, I mean, here, I got this one. Obviously, it's Friends.
Yeah,
Why
actually,
is it Friends?
I hate Friends.
Friends is a
Isn't
bad
it a cantrip?
spell.
Isn't it a cantrip, though?
I might be. I don't know.
It does very
I
little
guess that
for you.
counts.
It does very little. Look, I don't I don't want
Yeah.
to make friends in real life. How
Fair.
dare you force me to do it in my role-playing games?
Yeah. I also have issue with command. It's not strong enough for what it is.
It's too
Again,
ambiguous.
isn't that also
Yeah.
a cantrip?
I think it's a first level spell.
Yeah, it might
Is
be.
it?
It might be.
Maybe it's because I played paladins. It just always has.
Yeah, you
command.
have that. You and your holy sword of justice.
Always real life paladin right here, my guys.
No, friend. It's got to be friends, right? It just
I don't know. What about guiding bolt?
Yeah.
that can be useful. It has to be the right circumstance.
The right circumstance and the right dice roll.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
that's
rare
fun.
that it works.
Yeah.
It's
But
another
when it
one of
does-
those.
But when it does,
I guess so.
Is it worth it for the when it does?
no. But you're not going to use it all the time. That's. Well, guys, I got nothing I can really do on my turn, so I will do this. It might have some good effect, right?
That's fair enough. It has been like my last ditch effort, kind of like I have this
Yeah.
on my thing. I
Fair.
can use it because I think it's like what a bonus action.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
not close enough to hit. I'm not
Yeah.
going to get close enough
No,
to
isn't
hit.
it an action? I think it costs you a full action because it's dumb. I think that's why I dislike it.
I feel like we're starting to try and convince each other of the worst spells are actually useful, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think we should just stop here.
What about in all of D&D? Have you guys played any other editions?
I haven't gotten into other editions to know enough.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure Dave's.
What are like some of the weird ones of like when you're exploring that no one ever actually uses? Like, not necessarily detect magic, but like I think there's like a find traps spell
Oh, yeah.
that will never get used if you have a rogue in your party.
Yeah,
or a
there's just
decent hunter.
well, we like in my games we don't really deal with food and water and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So
Oh, so like
Create-
purifying
Yeah.
food and water or whatever. Those spells are kind of useless when you're not using them.
The spell to store a body for 10 days without it rotting. Like,
There's
if
a
I'm
spell
not,
that does
yeah.
that.
If I'm not getting my companion back, I'm not getting my companion back right away.
okay,
Like, if I'm not resurrecting them now, having 10 days to get them back somewhere isn't going to be enough time for me to deal with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
when I played 3.5, there was a book called the Spell Compendium. It was an entire book full of additional spells, and it was by far the worst book I ever bought because it allowed all the players access to all of these additional spells.
I love that.
No, it was terrible.
As a player, I love that.
Well, yeah, it sounds great, except for the fact that now you're sitting around a table and you got 6 people all trying to fight for the same book, and nobody's looked it up, and you haven't been playing with this stuff very long, so nobody really knows how the stuff works, and it's all really oddball, so it's very specific. So it's like that book slowed our game down so much. There were some neat spells. I think there was like a Rainbow Blast or something, where it's like a ray attack, but it does different kinds of damage. It does like 6d10 damage, and there's one fire,
Okay.
one lightning, one, right?
Okay.
So like it's kind of neat. Like there's some neat
Yeah.
stuff in there, but just it really was one of those things where you needed everybody to have.
Their own copy, or at least photocopies of the spells they wanted.
Yeah, like that was probably the worst experience with spells we had.
Probably better in
It tried to
this-
be such a good thing, and it just like flipped
Probably
it.
better with the internet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where we have access to just look it up on our phones.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we didn't have that back then.
No, it
James,
was the dark
Back in
times,
the day
David.
when
Yeah.
phones were stupid.
when they flipped open.
They flipped open.
Yeah.
I had a QWERTY keyboard and I thought it was
Oh,
hot shit.
man.
Motor
QWERTY.
Razor.
Oh,
Ooh.
I was
baby.
rocking T9 on the knockoff Razor.
Ugh,
Oh my god.
figures,
Yeah.
figures.
Son of a bitch. All right, whose turn is
All
it?
right, James, you're up.
I
Oh, no, you just rolled.
It was
Oh, is it
Megan's
me?
turn.
Yeah, it's you.
I will do your table, James. 6, just because I want to make you read.
6 is very small.
Is it? Okay, here we
Yes.
go. That's what she said.
At Myron Hannah
Oh, Hannah.
asks how to deal with purposely difficult players.
Kick them out of your game.
That's, yeah, if they're at that point, kick them out.
I mean, yeah, again, it depends on the level.
Yes.
If a player is being difficult, obviously, as a human being, you want to have the conversation,
Yeah.
have the constructive criticism conversation with them. If they're at your table, it is because they want to be there. So you kind of, as your job as the DM, is to try and help that synergy. So it kind of depends on what the struggle is.
Yeah.
If they're struggling with other players and the players are complaining about them, then it's a group discussion. If it's and just group dynamics.
Yeah.
Being hey, at this table we've discussed there's some issues, let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
if they're a rogue that always goes out to steal every time they go into town,
Punish them.
punish them. Have consequences. Throw them in jail
Yeah.
and make sure the other party can't get them.
Yeah.
They're stuck there for a whole session.
Or make it like a very, very difficult decision whether or not they're going to go save them.
Make it not worth their while. So the rest of the party, and now they have to rely on the rest of the party being nice to them with them being a dick for so long.
Yeah.
You're really bordering on confrontational DM right there. Which, trust me, I know I am one.
It's what I do naturally.
It is, and you know what? It works well. I've had I don't have problem players, but I've certainly had players that I've had a problem with. And,
While you've been a player?
Both.
Yes, okay.
As a player, I'll try to kind of like sit down and just, maybe that was a one-off. Maybe it's a two-off. Maybe my friend is actually like projecting something and try to like get to the root of it.
Maybe they're trying to work through some internalized trauma. Let's see where this goes.
Well, yeah, because like the people I play with are like genuinely friends, and I feel like I know them as people. So if they're acting out of character, that's weird. If they're always an asshole, you probably shouldn't have invited them to play in your game anyways, right? However, there are other ways to sit down. We sat down and did another like session 0 where we stopped and we reestablished things and reset the expectations and made sure that we were on, there was one player that was always late. So we kind of like laid it out for them and made it very clear that we wouldn't be slowing down and there would be consequences, like they wouldn't be getting their inspiration dice if they were late and stuff like that. So there's ways to go about it without necessarily just being like, no, banhammer, gone. But
I'm just a wrathful person, so.
Yeah, but I like the approach of try to make it work, and then when it doesn't, it's time to...
Hey man, I said have the conversation.
Yeah, have the conversation, see if it can be resolved. Depends on the type of difficult they are, and if they're the type we all know is out there, just get them out.
It's
a
not
worth
player.
The stress.
I don't know why Adam hasn't kicked me out yet.
Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think he enjoys the difficult I am. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah, to make yourself feel better.
I don't need to make myself feel better. I feel great.
Should you, though?
Maybe, perhaps.
Love it.
That is not a problem for me to decide. That's for my therapist.
Fair enough.
All right, where are we at now?
David.
Is it me?
You can roll a die.
8 on the red. This one. @_it's Mieka asks, do you like modules or would you rather not be tied down to a set way of DMing?
David's already said he likes modules.
Yeah, I like modules. This should be no surprise. However, like I have said, in addition to that, I like adding my own stuff to it as well. I like spicing it up a little bit. Modules are a great bare bones. This way I don't have to look up big storylines or plot hooks or keep things interesting or worry about where traps are or what monsters are where or theme the different levels of my dungeon or anything like that.
Yeah.
I can just worry about what have my players grabbed onto and how can I expand that.
Yeah. I like using modules for weird lore background bullshit. So, like, I've been reading a lot of Storm King's Thunder lately. Never played in that game ever.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bits and pieces where I'm like, I would love to use this in another campaign.
Yeah.
Just as, like, this character's background story, or, like, this big boss's background story, or XYZ, I would love to use within a homebrew campaign. I've never homebrewed a campaign from beginning to end. I've always used bits and pieces of modules and characters and what have you to put something kind of together that kind of fits. But to your point, to be able to look back and be like, okay, well, this is the stat block, so I don't have to worry about building one. This is kind of like the map that I want to use, so I don't have to worry about drawing one, and all that kind of stuff, right? So,
yep.
For me, it's about the amount of commitment I want to put in and who I'm playing with.
Yeah.
If I'm playing with new players and I want low commitment, definitely a module. Most of it's done for you. You're able to step them through a campaign that's more laid out. Because if I'm doing, especially if I'm writing myself a campaign, it is going to be extremely disjointed because that's how my brain works. They're not helpful for anyone, but that's how it happens. And it'd be hard to take a new player through. When you're not only explaining mechanics, you're explaining a world you've only like 80% developed.
Yeah.
So modules for the most part,
Yeah.
easier.
But it's nice if you're going to jump into a dungeon to be like, okay, let's find a random dungeon in one of these modules and throw the map out and you know where everything is.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a nice change of pace even if you're doing a different module saying, here's one floor from the Mad Mage.
Yeah, so that if you have someone who's played like fucking Strahd 9,000 fucking times, like we all have.
I've never played it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like I'm pointing directly at Dave.
Yeah,
like,
like we all played it. Nope, never.
I think I've played in like 4 or 5 Strahd campaigns.
I would love to, but never got around to it.
Maybe I'll run you one. But I'm going to use maps from every other module.
Yeah.
Sure.
And throw a giant in there for you.
Well, I mean, some modules, like the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, the maps per level have it built right in where there's pathways to the expanded dungeon where you can do your own stuff in addition to, right? Like the modules are meant to be more comprehensive than they are.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Fair enough.
James.
1.
Oh, critical fail.
Swedeboo. Sorry for butchering your name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it.
It's okay. It's probably not their real name.
I hope not.
It'd be weird if it was.
Yeah. Okay, back to reading the question, David.
Well, go ahead.
Another question for our wise DMs, so no one here.
Fair.
Some of my friends are asking to be introduced to D&D through a one-shot. What level or tier is best to introduce new players to the game and why? Is there an adventure you'd recommend or other? Thanks.
3 in Strahd.
Oh God, you're mean, but yes. Strahd was my first campaign, so I can't say anything against that. For me, level 10 in that sheep campaign, someone has a free PDF of online. Honestly, one of the best intros to D&D I've played.
Yeah, there's a lot of free modules you could just basically search up and find something simple for intro players.
Yeah, my intro to 5th edition was The Lost Mines of Phandelver. And it was spot on. It was the perfect intro to get to learn the mechanics.
I've played that sheep one 3 times now. One of them was reskinned. And in the most recent one, we've followed the steps most of the time. Followed the sheep, tried to figure out what we could do. One of our players was a druid. I've had druids play this with me. They had talk to animals. We've had people who have talked to animals play with us. They crit that. No one's ever thought about it I've played with to talk to animals to the sheep. Because why would we? Brand new player, that's the first thing they thought of. And it solved 80% of the struggle you go through in that campaign. But we were all blown away with them. We're like, that's amazing. I've done this a few times. I've had that spell and it never connected.
Yeah.
I've never thought about, I can talk to this animal and figure out what it wants. No, I'm reading pantomimes the whole time.
Yeah, I love that for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of more on you, though, there, isn't it?
100% on me.
Yeah, you're like, I want to be so creative.
We've been in several with other people, though, so I wasn't alone with experienced players never thinking about the simple spell.
Oh.
Because we're all experienced players who've had higher level spells, who focus on higher level things, not this animal can talk to me and give an answer. Just give me what you've got. Let's deal with this.
That's one of my favorite things about playing with new players, is seeing how they apply the spells that we've used forever in different ways that we never thought of. It's interesting to see.
I like people being creative with their battle tactics. No, that's just me. But I remember my first introduction to D&D 5th, because I played one campaign 3.5, hated it, thought I'd never play D&D again. Played one campaign in 4th, and then my first campaign in 5th was a homebrew rural Japan. I played an Oni, which was a homebrew everything. And so I never really got the experience of what 5th edition actually had to offer, because I was playing this character that basically had nothing to do with 5th edition. So, but level 3 is my, at least, just so they can get a little bit of a taste
power.
And a little bit of power.
But you don't want to overpower them.
Oh, no,
Exactly.
I'd say a level 5, because that way you're starting to look at early tier 2 monsters. If they're just running around fighting CR 1s and 2s, it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but you can give them some weird stuff. They've got some powers. They've hit that 4th
I think it
level
depends on the group you're
where they
playing
can
with,
get
too.
feats and stuff like that.
I think that's asking too much of new players.
Yeah, sometimes there's a lot at 5th.
I think you want to be around 4th or 5th level at most.
But that's why I would have a
depending on the
session
group.
0, and then I would have a character creation session
They're
where we
trying to
go
do
through all this stuff.
Based on the question, though, they're trying to do a one-shot with people who don't know if they'll be into it. So that's where you're able to go in and say, roll these dice, here's your character, here's what you've got. Personally, I'd even go in with a bunch of characters pre-built.
Well, again, they've got the starter kit. Phandelver's right there, and they give you starter characters to play.
I power those up.
It is good. It's a reason that's the one that's the starter kit.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I'm going to roll on my chart, because y'all being selfish with your own too, so.
Yeah.
3. Oh, KingofRott. Hi. What's your favorite piece of folklore to use in your D&D campaigns? And what's one that you might use, but haven't yet? Mine is the concept of changelings, the baby swapping thing, not the playable race.
Skinwalkers I've always wanted to use.
Skinwalkers?
Yeah.
Oh.
One I've used.
So going to be lore from, do you think from anywhere, or does it have to be a D&D lore?
Anywhere I was going for her.
Okay. I don't know. I like the idea that, times of day require a different amount of energy and power. So, like, if you're in the daytime, there are certain characters that are more overpowered than others.
Okay.
And at nighttime, other characters
Yeah,
are more overpowered
that'd be cool.
than others. Or the fact that names have power. So if someone knows your true name and speaks it, they now have, depending on the character,
some kind of power
like,
over
there's
you.
a certain race that would have that capability. I love that in lore, is that names have power.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not sure I've ever really dug too much into it.
What's like a folklore tale that's one of your favorites, though?
Bigfoot, Dave?
I mean, we have played with Bigfoot. Were you part of that? No, I think
so.
I think this was a Justin thing. We had the Sasquatch in it, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He was a Koatoa god,
Yeah.
which was absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Justin. Like that was
That's the one thing you're gonna praise them.
yeah, good job.
Shitting
Thanks
on
for
him
that.
earlier.
Yeah.
No, other than that, I don't think I really dealt too much. I just kind of stuck to the main like fantasy tropes and that kind of thing.
Fair.
Yeah.
I would like to use dreams more in D&D.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Like, prophetic dreams are just like, in general, like, you have nightmares on a regular basis. But you have to figure out whether they mean something or not. 90% of the time, they mean nothing.
Yeah, that's something we need to...
But that 10%.
But that 10%, roll a percentile die.
That's a session 0 thing, and that's just a message you send your player.
Yeah.
You send them a garbled message of, this is what your dream was.
Yeah. During this long rest, who's sleeping. Yeah.
Private message them this dream, and then they get to deal with what they want.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. But that's a session 0 question, too.
Absolutely. I can understand that.
Yep. All right.
Your turn.
Take that, James. I'm going to roll on the white table this
15?
time. 15.
Eric in Prague says, "Hello.
Hello.
New listener, but burning through the back catalog quickly. Forgive me if you've answered any of my question. When a member of a group says they want to try DMing for the group, what do you think about the existing DM taking an almost DM PC role to help the new DM?" So this is like your co-DM, I'm assuming. But still being a player until they get their feet under them, or do you think let them find their style, even if it's a bumpy beginning approach is better? I think we've talked about co-DMing before a few times. Yeah.
For me, I think somewhere in between.
Yeah.
You give them a bunch of leeway, but when you see them struggling...
Don't be scared to
don't be scared to say something, but like what I've done before was we had a new DM trying to decide, like 2 players are arguing what type of role they should have to do for something.
Yeah.
And I just turned to him and I said, perception or deception number. And they're like, oh, deception 14. There's your DC. Your decision's done. So just help push them that little bit. Don't guide them, don't lead them, but give them that little final push. Like, it's your decision. You are the DM. You make the final call.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with Kyle doing that. He was a new DM. I had a buddy, Sean, who was DMing for us for a little while. And it's always been difficult for me to go from... As the DM, you're involved in every decision that's going on at the table. As a player, you are not. I found it very hard to step back sometimes and just kind of be like, let the DM do his thing. I've been the DM for so long that it's hard for me to balance that sometimes. But when we play, we are very much of the opinion that nobody here is perfect. Nobody here knows everything. So this is a collaboration.
Absolutely.
You come to the table knowing your stuff. I'll come to the table knowing my stuff. And what we don't know, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the middle and look something up. When we're playing, if I'm having an interaction with one player and we're not sure on something, but we can continue on, we will, and I'll get a different player to look into that. So it keeps the people that aren't doing anything busy as well. And then we can kind of circle around to the problem we had then, right? So I think there's a collaborative way to certainly figure this out. If you are a player and an experienced DM and you have the answer to a problem that your current DM is having and you're not speaking up, you're being a bad player.
Yeah.
Right? Help them out.
Yeah.
But, you
have a solution.
There's a way to do it, though. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, you
right?
can always ask, like, do you need a hand? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's been many times, to your point, when we're doing, especially in battle, if you're like, okay, well, I forget what grapple means. Like, okay, I'll grab the book, I'll look it up, and you can go to the next person's turn, we'll figure it out while we're continuing the game going, to keep the pace going, and then your DM's not sitting there struggling trying to figure it out themselves, right? Like, the whole point of D&D is it's a team fucking effort.
Yeah.
Like,
and on that, another is explaining why you're telling them something.
Yeah.
Like if you're saying, oh, it's a deception of 15, why is it a deception? They are trying to hide the truth, and it's a relatively hard hide, so it should be a DC of 15.
Yeah.
Like, just giving the same
You're doing
information.
it against a high elf, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be...
You're giving them the same information to the DM, but you're giving them a reason why so they can make that decision for themselves in the future.
Yeah.
They're able to say, oh, this lie here is a 15, and the other one earlier was a 2. So now I know that range.
Yeah, absolutely. Team game.
Yep.
Team effort. Roll that dice.
Do it.
18, David.
Spidey Rich asks, what's the most evil thing you've experienced a big bad evil guy do?
That's a hard one. Half of them have been not wrong.
Yeah.
That's awfully telling about you, James.
Yeah, that is
They
definitely
go about it the wrong way and they're bad still. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying like they are getting revenge for their whole race being wiped out. To me, yes, you shouldn't be killing people, but they wiped out your whole race. They may deserve it.
We're not going to have an ethics conversation right here, James, but I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what big bad evil guy? Like, they're evil. They trap people. They enslave people. They murder children.
But have they done everything, like, anything, like, extremely awful to one of your players at the table?
I mean, I would probably argue that my players have been the most evil people at my table.
Yeah.
Fair enough, fair
They're
enough.
the ones that have sat down and literally tortured people and literally flayed the skin from the bottom of their feet and made them march until they got the information they were looking for. Like they have
That's
gotten
bad even for me.
They have
Dave.
gotten very, very specific with it to the point where it's like, all right, guys, time out. This is not what I signed on for. We are here to play a game. We're not here to play your sick, twisted torture porn fantasies. Like, no.
Hey, man, we don't kink shame, but, like, yeah, go on.
But like,
Shoot your shot.
come on, get to where you're going, right? So I mean, like evil is a spectrum, right?
Evil is a spectrum.
Evil's a viewpoint.
So
Evil is a state of mind.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Like-
most evil thing, I don't know, murdering children, I guess. But I mean, that's relatively mundane in the D&D world.
Yeah.
So I have a very, very heartbreaking, like, evil man romance story that I can tell.
Okay.
That I'm currently actively dealing with in one of my campaigns.
Oh.
So I am playing a character who fell in love with one brother, but was betrothed to the other brother.
Oh, that's awkward.
Right?
Yeah.
So she said no to the other brother because she was in love with the other brother, and then went on with her business because she's a sailor, so she went off to the oceans, did pirate shit. Came back, really continued to express her love for the other brother, but the betrothed brother technically came on one of the ships with them, and he risked his life for my character. And my character still said, no thanks, but thanks enough.
Yeah, good. They don't know him shit.
So he got super angry, went home, and murdered his brother.
Oh.
So the next time I went to the Isles to visit my said love of my life, I found out he was dead. And now the betrothed brother is now in charge of said castle. So now my character is on a Sansa Stark, like, mission to marry this man and then murder him.
Fair.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
Fair.
Welcome to the campaign where I requested a council.
Are you,
Yeah. No,
are you
fair.
okay?
I'm okay. You know what? Yes.
Yes.
This is very fresh. This happened like 2 weeks ago, so it's very fresh in my mind.
You sure? You sure?
It's
you're
fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. It's okay. But yeah, just have them murder your fucking love of your life. That's cool.
That's actually probably the most direct evil of a campaign I've like directly heard about that has occurred.
Oh yeah, but like the thing is, like he doesn't know that she knows that he murdered him.
Yeah.
But it's just like we fucking know that you fucking murdered that guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, whose turn is it?
Your turn to roll.
Are you ready?
I'm okay. I'll red table. 20.
20. Anotherskip says, Dan just finished installing one of his pieces of furniture in your living room
Yeah.
1 hour before a party with all of your friends and family gathered.
Yeah.
Who are you putting in the freshly installed furniture?
Dave.
That was quick.
I mean, honestly, I would have also volunteered myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I will try this out.
It's something Dave would try out. I know Dave well enough at this point in my life.
Yeah, I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
Oh, well, clearly you don't kink shame, so.
No, it's fine.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, realistically, the person that would get away with it the easiest is Terry, because theoretically it'll have him...
I feel like we would
gagged.
turn around and Terry would be in it himself.
Yeah.
Does it work
Does it
this
work
way? Governor, am I doing it properly?
Could someone give me a bottle of water?
And whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never heard him say governor once.
We have in our Call of Cthulhu game.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, my Lanta.
It's funny, we're in England, but he's
Yeah.
playing an American. So,
Of
missed
course.
opportunity, Terry. Come on. Legitimately, Terry.
Here's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Terry's the easy shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
It isn't implying Terry is our friend, though.
Whoa.
I mean, he's okay.
Fair enough. Like, he does aight.
Yeah, he's
I
alright.
like him enough.
He has, like, that one redeeming quality that we won't talk about, because we don't want to pump his ego.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't
Yeah.
want to say too many nice things. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he'll just be...
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
balance that shit out.
Yeah. All right.
You're our friend, but...
But we don't like...
Hey!
Oh!
Oh, yes.
19. Another skip again. Another skip.
Okay.
What mini game would you include in a session of distract that player?
What do you mean by distract that player?
What's something that you can inject into a session to distract your player, like your player that gets
Distracted.
easily sidetracked? What can you do to sidetrack them but keep them on task at the same time? Easy for me. As an easily distracted player, you see, like, when we play on Sundays, like, I'll sit there quietly for like a long time, and I'm just kind of like, I'm paying attention. But if I've got like the map that I'm writing out,
Or you were the designated note
or I'm
taker
taking
for
my
the day.
like 15 pages of notes,
Yeah.
like that is the easiest way to get me.
You're a great note taker, by the way.
Well, thank you. It's
Yeah,
all
you're
that
welcome.
time I didn't spend in college.
Yeah. I didn't have one... I missed one session, and I read his...
Yeah, it's convenient.
14 pages of notes, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
There were a couple questions I had, because, of course, with D&D notes, you read them afterwards. You're like, what the fuck did this mean?
You write them and you read them later and
Yeah,
you still don't know.
But as a whole, like, great note taker. So, yeah, I do like the idea of, like, dictate them as the note taker for the
Yeah,
session.
give them notes.
Yeah.
Or some other job like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of, hey, could you organize the party loot?
Yeah.
Right?
Put it all in one
Yeah,
place.
keep track of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like that kind of thing. Or, guys, it's been 15 sessions. Here's a new blank character sheet. Maybe update yours while you're not doing something. Maybe just update yours so it's not all smudged anymore, and like, you don't have all those notes everywhere, and like,
Yeah.
sort it out a little bit, right?
Fair.
There's always homework to be done between sessions, right?
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah.
My table?
Your table, 15.
Already read it.
oh
7.
All right. Groundbreaking top 33 from Reddit asks, do you use Minotaurs more as raging beasts or as intelligent race? Not sure if they warrant an episode of their own, but personally I prefer them over... But personally I prefer them from the Dragonlance setting way back in 2nd edition. I have had many Minotaur PCs and really enjoy playing them. I mean, I think I've played in so many campaigns with animalistic PCs.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems normal now.
they've really hit the anthropomorphic races hard in 5th edition.
We've hit that stride in 5th edition for sure. Like, you can basically pick any animal and you can play it at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like there's any reason why or why not to play one. I think it does still kind of have to fit into your world and your campaign. So I think that when you're playing one of those animalistic characters like a Leonin or XYZ, that's a conversation you have with your DM. Like, even like Tabaxi or like a strange one that of like, does this actually appear in your world? There's your side of the land, or like those kinds of things, right?
Are you so rare, or are you going to be hunted because you're rare?
Right? Like, could you imagine driving around with like a Minotaur and then all of a sudden you're being hunted? Because
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, I would play them as an intelligent fucking race.
For sure.
So to answer that question, they are intelligent.
As a race, they're intelligent, but as every race, there's some dumb ones who are barbarians. And the like. But yeah.
They're gonna be your fucking, what is that fucking sport people do that we were just talking about earlier? CrossFit. That's how hip I am with the sports these days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I've only played in 2 campaigns with Minotaurs, and it was the same guy playing 2 different Minotaurs. And of course it was Justin.
Yeah.
His first one was Ramsey, who I think died.
Yes.
But then Gordon.
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah. So he really leaned into him, and he was good at them, because he is very much. If I were to assign him a playable race from D&D, it would probably be a Minotaur.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, Minotaurs to me, like, my big exposure to them was through Magic the Gathering. I've got a red-black Minotaur deck that just like beats everything. Okay, it is if you can get it going with like 3 mana, you are unstoppable.
This is not a Magic the Gathering podcast.
No, Dave.
But sort of. There's some crossover. Okay. But there's like there's spellcaster Minotaurs. There's frontline brute Minotaurs. There's different kinds. So it really shows that they are more than just the grunt on the ground. There is like a society to them. There is a hierarchy, and there is intelligence to them as well. And I think that's just something that's inherently in them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Fair. Dave.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Isn't it your roll?
Was it?
No, you rolled it.
You rolled from my table.
Yes.
Okay, this is how much I'm paying attention to what's happening right now.
We just count how many we've had.
I think because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I also have 5. That is 6.
So 11.
I've done 3.
14.
Okay.
All right,
All
rolling
right.
on James's table for a while now.
All right, let's do it. 6.
6. We've done it.
What? How? You fucking get out of here. 13.
13.
Done that one too.
No.
No, okay.
It's just a paragraph.
Anderson Snow 14 asks, when can we expect an It's a Mimic themed dice? And can I get first dibs? No clue and no clue.
Well, I mean, we do have a member of our party that makes dice these days. And by our party, I mean within the classes of our friendship circle.
Yeah. Charlie isn't really part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Charlie does dice?
Yeah, Charlie does dice.
Yeah.
Oh, what dice? I should talk to Charlie.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jot that down
Here,
real
write
quick
that
here.
down. Let me just
I'll
Remember,
talk.
this is our idea.
Yeah. I'll talk to the powers that be.
Yeah, see what we can get going.
Yeah.
There is, shameless plug, other merch available on the website.
Absolutely.
In fact, the other day, It's a Mimic mug showed up at my house, and it's just the white mug with the
I have that one at home.
the microphone
Yeah.
logo on it. So
Nice.
it looks nice. Yeah. Good quality, well worth the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shameless plug over.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn. James, you again. 15.
15.
It's my favorite number.
Zachary Melkon. I'm terrible at reading these online names.
Zachary McConnell.
See.
You got it.
There you go.
Nailed it.
Zachary McConnell asks, how much detail is too much detail when describing a building? When it sounds like an architecture textbook.
Yeah.
When your players are losing interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they
Period.
see their eyes glazing
Yeah.
over, you've overdone
How
it.
much detail is needed for that? Is a reason you're explaining these details relevant to your story?
Yeah.
If not, you probably don't need it.
Yeah, I think the thing to remember when you're describing a building or a room or anything in general, some players are going to listen to what you're saying as if what you're saying is important. So if you then suddenly are getting the habit of you're describing every fucking nook and cranny of the room, nothing is important anymore.
Yeah.
And your characters are going to have no idea what direction to go in. So it's almost like you have to be strategic with what you are describing. So is the fact that the path is narrow important? Is the fact that the door frame is large important? Because you're insinuating giants live here. Like, it's the details that are important for your characters to pick up on are the ones you want to use. Anything beyond that, useless unless your players ask.
And if you're trying to set this as a castle's a focal point of this town that they're going back to often, you don't need to describe it perfectly the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they come over to the ridge into that valley, they see the towers of the castle jutting over the city.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways to throw this in over many sessions and bring this image to your players you're looking for.
Yeah, with castles, the thing that might be important is the fact that the flag of XYZ kingdom is being flown.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to know, because that might be a surprise. It might be known, right?
Or that flag has now changed because you told them before it's always been this flag, and this new time, town looks a little different. The flag is different, but you don't say the flag is different. You say it's just the different country's name.
Yeah.
Do your players notice? That's on them.
But that's the difference between a passive perception and getting them to do a perception or an investigation check.
Yeah.
Right? The idea that they're going to walk in, when they walk into the room, they're going to see that the ceiling is 10 feet tall. They're going to see that the door is made of wood and that in the corner there's a bookshelf, there's a desk in the middle, and it's got 3 chairs around
And
it.
at least 6 sconces, only 2 of which are lit.
But I wouldn't even get into that, right? if they want to do an investigation check, that's when I'll throw in that level of detail, because that tells them that they have done a check, they have gained more information, but there was nothing else to gather. right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I do it. On top of that, when they go into a new build or like a new setting, like a castle or a town or something, it's every building in here has a straw roof. Every building in here has wooden doors, and they are all unlocked. If that is different, I will tell you.
Yeah.
All right, so they can just make these assumptions. It kind of streamlines the game a little bit. That's how I like to deal with it.
Very. I like that.
Oh, I see how it is, James.
I already did
We
that.
already did that one.
Already rolled that one. 8.
8.
We already did that one as well.
Damn it,
Oh.
David. 2.
Ew, David. I do at least once.
Roll or Dice from Reddit asks, there are cults, hags, succubi, dragons in disguise, doppelgangers, oblixes, and illusion magic in D&D. Plus mimics, piercers, dark mantles, cloakers, and ropers.
Where is this going?
Why aren't normal villagers more paranoid?
Actually, I've always wondered this. Like, there's so much outside your door.
Below average intelligence.
Yeah, it's the intelligence level for me. Yeah.
Even if they're at a 10, they still got to be scared of what's outside.
Well, I mean, that's why you have, like, why cities always have an army. Why cities always have...
But think about every village in the boonies. That, like, how do
They've
they
all got a
steal
watch, though.
Even with a watch, a horde of goblins come in, a few bugbears show up. Like, you're gone.
Yeah, but the ones that are set up in hostile territory don't last long enough to matter.
Yeah, I think it's just the... It's kind of the thing where we think of our regular societies. Like, we have earthquakes and hurricanes, and yet we build towns and cities on water lines.
Yeah.
Like, we do the same shit, guys. Like, it's just society as a whole.
Yeah.
We love living on the edge of danger.
You know, the false sense of security. It's my jam.
My day.
Yeah.
I like just constantly feeling like I'm in danger. Keeps me alive.
There's more
This is
truth
why
to
we
that
get
than you will
witches.
ever know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's just like people gotta live, people gotta eat, people gotta feed their families, people gotta keep doing stuff, right? Like,
Everything's about survival. It's just a different
Right.
level of...
and I mean, you look at the risks we're willing to take to get food today are very different than the risks people would take 1,000 years ago,
It's true.
right?
Our risks are just different. We just build towers that are extremely high, so if an earthquake happens...
Are you afraid of heights?
I'm afraid of earthquakes and tsunamis.
I trust the engineering put into these tall towers.
Oh,
Do you
James.
know?
I do.
Oh, sweet summer
okay.
child.
I trust nothing that is man-made.
Both
Yeah.
same, but...
Everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dan's made some of them. Like, no way. No way.
I know Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, only his furniture is good. Yeah.
Oh, my Lanta.
All right, who's next?
Megan,
Is it me? I have to roll now?
you get to roll now.
Okay, I'm gonna go... Oh, 8's already done on the
Yeah,
table?
that was Mieka again. 16
on your
16,
table.
all
There
right.
you go.
Diggly Blue Moonya says, I liked your episodes about storylines, but I'm still not sure how to use it. Can you please help?
Sorry, to what? Sorry, storyline. What?
I liked your episodes about storylines, but I'm still not sure how to use it. Can you please help?
I was not on the episode.
I was not on that episode.
None of us were on the episode of Storyline.
This-
Can we please help? The answer is
No,
no.
we'll reference this to Adam.
And we'll highlight that question and leave it on the table for next time when someone is present.
Yeah, I'm going to put
Yeah.
a star
potentially
beside
answer
that.
that question
Do you want
for
to
you.
roll another one, Megan?
I will roll another one just.
All
in
right.
We'll
case.
find a real
All right.
adult to answer
We'll
that
find.
for you.
We are not the adults today.
15. M.V.Will.MS asks, which of these movie franchises is your favorite and why? The Mummy, 1 and 2. National Treasure, 1. Or Indiana Jones, 1 to 3.
So I have a very fast answer to this one.
Okay.
It's The Mummy because that's where my sexual orientation came from.
Fair. Like, I agree
Every
with the mummy.
Character. Just saying.
The mummy too.
The Mummy, like,
The 1 and 2.
the one, okay. I like how it was specifically not anything about the Scorpion King.
No, because it sucks.
No, absolutely not. And The
Yeah.
Rock is not attractive in any way, shape, or form. No offense, The Rock. I'm sorry. Still sponsor us. You're a great man. You also play D&D, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So
I think
phenomenal.
so.
I'm going to go with Indiana Jones. I wrote one of the only times I ever wrote a campaign. There was a big, like, going into the Valley of the Crescent Moon kind of thing where they had to go in and figure out the traps to get through to get to the MacGuffin on the other side.
Yeah.
The MacGuffin.
Yeah, it worked. It was neat. I don't think it landed as well as I thought it was going to, but I have
Generally
fun.
doesn't, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all matters to me.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. All right. Is it me now?
you physically roll.
It's been a minute for you.
Yeah, I rolled 2.
Number
technically.
6.
6? Okay.
Oh, the big one.
Okay. I just have to figure out how to names.
You have to figure out how to names.
Figure out. Okay, so acid dialogue. Got it. It's the double D threw me off. That's what she said. Thank you, Dave and Adam,
Oh shit.
for fueling my love for Eberron.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Root.
here we go. This is a praise question for you. I am planning to run the next campaign for my group. As Dad and Adam recommended in the campaign builder, I have 3 ideas. Which one would you want to play? Okay, there's 3 ideas written.
If it's Eberron, all of them.
Okay, well, can we just...
Calm
what would
down,
you play
Dave.
first? The War on Terror. Focus on the Order of the Emerald Claw. 2. Little Trouble in the Big City. Focus on Clan Boromar. Settlers of Kabara. Focus on protecting your settlement. Bonus. What would you like to see in your choice?
All right. Do you guys know about those? Do you
No,
want me
No,
to
this
go
is
right
all
now?
you.
David.
All right. So the Emerald Claw is an evil organization that is working in the shadows to like pull strings and political intrigue and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. I have played. There was a 3.5 module, something about called the Order of the Emerald Claw or something along those lines. And we played that one. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic. We had fights on top of lightning rails. We had fights while airships were crashing. We had all sorts of really cool stuff. We used Eberron to its fullest, and it was absolutely incredible. The clan Boromar. That's going to be like political intrigue in the city of Sharn. That's going to be Sharn is the city of towers. That's going to be kind of like sneaking your way through different neighborhoods where you may not always be welcome. You may stand out, and kind of like dealing with the seedy underbelly of not just the city, but the politics of the city.
So would a Minotaur do well here?
They could.
Okay,
They could.
fair enough.
And then Kabara is kind of like the unexplored jungles of lizard folk and dragons. So it would kind of be like that kind of vibe.
All right. My answer is dragons and forest.
Yeah, mine's Kabara, Dragons and Forest.
Yeah, you like. Don't get me wrong. I love a good political intrigue.
Yeah.
But like, I also love a good like.
Out of those
lizard folk
options,
battle.
I'd rather go build a town and defend it.
Yeah.
Though a political intrigue would be hella fun too, but I feel like going into the wilderness and building a town.
Would in Emerald Claw or Boromar would there be courts like court of laws?
Not in the Emerald Claw.
Okay.
You can make one in your town, Megan.
I'm just really all about like because I just played at a court game. Like I'm
Yeah.
all about the objection, hearsay bullshit. Like so. Can I have any of that in here?
There was one session we did that was at a
So
masquerade
that's
ball.
what you want added.
That's what I want added.
And they had to go into this masquerade ball and like suss out who's what and how's it going and like there was
So like a murder mystery kind of.
oh yeah, and
Cool,
it was
cool.
really interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on with Emerald Claw. The main guy was a changeling. His name was Garrow, and he showed up later as Regro. I just like switched the letters around in his
Of
name.
course, yeah.
And but completely oblivious. They didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely wonderful to like see those interactions happen. So yeah, probably Emerald Claw just because I've got such a background with it.
Fair.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a fun question. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I hope we help. At a court of law.
10. Tarzan of the Desert asks.
Yeah.
Do you ever inject current real-world issues into your D&D games so your players have an outlet to address them as their characters? A way for everyone to express themselves in a safe place and to blow off a little steam? Example would be, at the time of writing this question, I know it would take a while to get to this. We are dealing with the abortion law ruling down in the States and extremely high gas prices across the globe. The overseas conflict with Russia and the Ukraine is also in full swing. In Canada, you have to deal with Terry. So, do you inject real-world elements? Personally, I don't. It's a great way to get away from them.
Yes. I feel like I tend to use fantasy games to not have to deal with the abortion economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me
Sure.
wrong. Like, you do inject like real world issues such as inflation or like limiting of a supply or like piracy or like immigration issues for different towns, XYZ. But I don't feel like I would actually do it to reflect a real world issue happening at that time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people in general, when they play D&D, are releasing some kind of internalized trauma, no matter what they're playing.
And I don't feel like you need to add on top of, I've built this character to internalize and externalize my internal drama, then to add on the real world drama on top of that. Like, I feel like it should be a safe space to just, because it is a safe space. But I feel like when you start introducing real world issues specifically that are very like, this is a real world issue and we're talking about it, it can get way too convoluted and draw the focus away from the ideals of the fantasy of
You also may not want to be sharing those feelings with everyone in that group.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your table too. Yeah. Like, because we always talk about in session 0 about how you always want to talk about the things you are comfortable talking about and things you are not comfortable talking about. Like, there are certain people that don't want to deal with children being injured.
Yep.
Like, that's a hard stop for a lot of people. So why would we now talk about abortion issues within a campaign? Like, I'm going to get real here because I'm very saucy about the abortion issues. But
I'm with you.
Fully support that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just feel like that's not something I really want to engage in a table. But to be fair, there might be tables that do want that.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, like, I'm really struggling with this in life. Can we work through this?
That's a session 0 talk or potentially even a one-shot talk.
Yeah.
To me,
we go have, in our same world, we go off with new characters that have nothing to do with our normal characters to deal with
this political intrigue.
Yeah.
But I mean, I figure that's how I make, meaningful connections with my friends is through the discussion of hot topic issues. Right, I would rather sit down out in the woods with a couple of buddies and a case of beer,
absolutely,
and hash it out there, than to sit around a table and skirt around the issue and like maybe address it from a different point of view that isn't necessarily my own because that's my like no, right? It's not.
Because your character's view is going to be different than your personal view, or vice versa. Or someone might be playing a character where their view is not what their view is, and then your players at your table have to navigate the negativity that might be coming through. Yeah. Like, there's just a lot of too many variables when you add that shit in there.
Yeah.
Especially with how people react to it. Some may take it extremely seriously, and others may take it as a joke. And because their character's a certain way, that joke may push the person who's serious beyond a point you want.
You're going to get somebody knifed at the table.
Yeah. Not worth it.
Yeah. There's other ways to get knifed at.
And then, again, there's other ways to bring political intrigue into a game without being too blatantly obvious that you're putting Donald Trump in your game.
Yeah. I'm rolling now. 13 on the red. Zither009 from Reddit. Your party is underwater facing a group of Sawajin. The cleric points at one and casts create/destroy water centered at one of the Sawagin. What happens?
Sahuagin.
Those damn Sahooligans. What happens? Is this an instant death scenario as the water around the Sawajin creates into the vacuum of space that was created in that instant?
Sahuagin.
I would give it to you once that you got to roll a d6 of damage for doing that and being creative. Because it's not a proper attack, I wouldn't give it to you normally. But if you came at me and said that, I'll give you one attack with it. You just get to roll a d6 for being creative and you can get to do that damage.
Yeah. I always say reward creativity when you can. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like that they get the full effect of the attack that they're looking for, unless they're able to roll a ridiculous amount of nonsense or use inspiration dice to do it.
Or explain it to me really well.
Yeah, like give it to me in
detail.
detail.
Give me a good reason why this should work. Beyond that, it creates a vacuum. Well, the pressure's not that high in there, so...
Read it to me like a novel, my guy.
Teach me why it should hurt.
You don't...
Make me cry.
Bring me the math. We've done that before. We asked a DM if we could make a sword out of snake blood. And they're like, that's a lot of snakes, because we've just dealt with a giant tomb of snakes. We calculated how much how much iron is in the average blood of an average snake.
Yeah, I've done that.
Brought that to our DM.
It's about 400 human adults.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of blood. But we brought that to our DM, and he's like, you know what? Because you've gone all this way, you can now make a dagger for it that has an extreme property against snake-type monsters.
100%.
Yeah, no, I would not let that work at all. Because I am a firm believer in there is a spirit in what the spell is intended to work, and that is against it. The spell is meant to create water, to put out a fire, to create water to be consumed. It is not there...
It's create water to put in a container. Your lungs are a container, so you could...
Are they, though? I don't store my wallet in my lungs.
You store air in your lungs.
No, it goes in and comes out again. I don't store air in there.
I don't know. It's as arguable as... You don't store water in the container once it's empty. Like, that's the concept, right?
Yeah, but I feel like, to me, that's against the spirit of the spell. However, if you're going to do something weird and neat and think outside the box... yeah, maybe that pressure change when you do it will stun him for a round, right? I'll throw you a bone, but I'm going to make it very clear that this is not going to work the way that you have expected it to, because it isn't always going to.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said I'd give it to them once for the creativity of it.
But even then, like, if I gave it to you once, now you're going to expect it to work that way every time.
I told them it doesn't.
And that's, yeah, but players don't always hear you when you say that.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah, I know. That's why I DM as much as I
I said
can.
that's why I suck.
Oh, no, that's
Oh,
a different
guys.
that's a different reason, James.
We don't need to have that
Dave.
conversation today.
Yeah.
How many questions are we at, fam?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I have 6.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we are at 20 questions. right
Plus there was the
now.
one.
the random question that we will continue to keep on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I know we only do 20, but there's one here at the top that I think we should just get rid of.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the outro because I also have one. And then
Okay.
I feel like we could read one of the questions that we really want to answer.
All right.
As like an aside. Because I was going to do that with... Because I think it's very topical for today. All right, thanks for listening to this very special episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. If you'd like to support us, we do have a donate button on our website at www.itsamimic.com. And if you'd like to discuss what you've heard today, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and at r/itsamimic. For other episodes for Mailbag, absolutely you can find us, but please absolutely comment your questions. We like hearing from different people. I feel like we got a couple of different questions from different folks today, which was a lot of fun. So definitely feel free to bother us on any of those platforms. We're happy to answer your questions.
Unless you are Peps.
Unless you're Peps. Peps are cut.
Yeah, you're cut now.
No more from Peps.
Yeah.
Yeah. None for Gretchen Wieners. Okay, I want to hear your question first. What question
All
do you have?
right. So
Yeah.
so there's one here that I really want to get at here.
Yeah.
Normally, we don't allow our hosts to ask questions, but Jeff was insistent.
Okay.
Okay? He says, your toilet is now sentient.
Oh, God.
Would you prefer it to passionately, exuberantly crave your excrement, or deeply resent and despise you for what you do to it, and why?
I would want it to like me because it is flushing away
Yeah.
waste I do not want in my own
I
home.
feel like that's
I feel like it's implied that it's going to take it anyways.
Or I feel like it's just going to vomit it up all over
I feel like
my...
that's your villain arc if you're forcing it to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is you now being an evil...
Yeah, you're now a big bad evil guy.
Yeah, you are. This is the most evil thing you've done as a big bad evil guy.
Yeah. You're forcing someone to consume your excrement who doesn't want it. That's pretty evil. At least the other guy wants it.
Yeah. At least you're, rewarding him
Yeah.
for existing.
Yeah,
He
but
sits there all day in the dark and you're like,
And wouldn't
here's
it
a
be
little
nice to
bit.
wake up to that and be like, oh, I'm so glad you're here.
you go down, he gives you a little Poseidon's kiss. and
Yeah,
you're just sitting
like,
down.
why
Someone to say
not?
good morning to you and mean it every
Right?
morning.
I feel like that toilet seat would be warm every day.
Yeah.
You know?
It'd prepare itself for you.
It's just ready for your presentation.
I don't know. I think warm seats are off-putting. Like, I need a little
because
chill
you're not
in it.
used to it.
Yeah.
Sure, but there
You
needs
know
to be a
your
little
toilet's
chill.
warm for you. I think you'd like it. Not warmed by someone else, but
But your sentient toilet is just yeah, I'm gonna do this for
And
you.
you forget to put the seat down. It's a real treat for the toilet today.
no, they'll put the seat down for you.
Oh.
It's a sentient toilet,
it
Dave.
can put its own
It
seat
knows
down.
whether you go
Just
in
because
there.
it knows doesn't mean it can move.
Okay, but I feel
We
like
just said it could keep itself warm,
It's
so
not
I
animated.
I extrapolated.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
It's not an animated toilet.
If it's sentient, it probably
it
is.
probably can move. It's like
Tongue
it's
it comes out and licks you clean after.
It's not a
A
mimic.
bidet.
It's a bidet. I love it so much.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I have a question.
All right.
Now we're gonna segue into something completely different. I feel like this is very topical because we were talking about Tinder today. What's your best romantic advice for both in-game and out-of-game scenarios?
Don't do what I do.
Get a sentient toilet.
Get a sentient toilet.
Nothing will love you like it. Yeah.
Are the three of us single?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have no advice for you.
Yeah, this is the wrong group.
As I said, do the opposite of what we've done, and it may work.
All right. Opposite of what I've done. Okay. Project confidence.
Okay, that's the opposite of what you've done?
Yeah, I am not confident.
Okay,
at
fair
all.
enough, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Do something different than what you normally would. So if you're normally on dating sites, go to a meetup.
I'd go to a meteor.
That would certainly solve the
That
problem.
would solve a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, I have no advice for this whatsoever.
I'm using the opposite of what I would do.
Oh, what is the opposite of what I would do? I would exude no confidence. I feel like I exude a lot of confidence every day. So
Yeah, no, that's not me. Also,
no, I would rely on others and accept love.
Accept
I
compliments.
am a strong, independent woman.
I think like actually like really good advice. What is like some?
If any of us had good advice, do you think we would be single, David?
Don't just listen, hear them.
Okay, actively listen is what you're saying.
What?
I couldn't hear what you were saying. Can you hear over how loud the toilet seat was?
You know the noise of like the airplane toilet? Like,
Yeah. Why do you feel like your soul gets sucked out?
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Sorry for whoever's editing this. Enjoy this little tidbit.
What the actual fuck just happened?
Well, I'm glad we ended with ass licking.
Right?